Hey everyone, welcome back to the Better Travel channel. For those of you that don't know, I am a lifelong Disneyland fan, annual pass holder, churro connoisseur, and recently a first time visitor to the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World in Florida. And today, we're diving into something that I think a lot of Disneyland fans secretly wonder about. How does the Magic Kingdom compare to Disneyland? Spoiler alert, it is not what I expected. Let's start with just getting into the park. At Disneyland, you can park, walk across the Esplanade, and be at the gates of both Disneyland and California Adventure in about 10 minutes. It's compact, easy, and dare I say, pretty efficient. At the Magic Kingdom, getting there feels like an expedition. To start, you don't park next to the entrance, you park at the Transportation and Ticket Center, or TTC, which are these massive parking lots that shuttle people to the gates of the security and entrance ticket centers. After parking, boarding a tram, and walking through security, you can finally wait in line for one of two choices: a monorail or ferry boat that takes you over the lake separating the park from the parking lot. After finally making it across the lake, you then have to wait in another line as people scan their passes and fingerprint in order to gain access to the park. The entire process from parking to walking into the gates of the Magic Kingdom took me roughly an hour, which is unheard of and something that I would have never even considered or expected when compared to entering Disneyland. So if you're used to Disneyland where spontaneity is possible, like saying to a buddy, hey, let's pop in for a churro and ride Space Mountain. Yeah, just forget it. Magic Kingdom is a full day commitment just to get in and out. By the time the park had closed on my first day in the Magic Kingdom, it took me an hour just to get back to my car. This was a massive culture shock to a Disneyland veteran because I would have thought that Disney would have come up with a more efficient form of transporting guests to and from the park instead of the total logistical nightmare I had experienced for the first time. However, I do understand that if you grew up experiencing the monorail ride or ferry ride into the park, that it can be a massive formative experience to have while growing up. It's the same feeling I get when I park in the Mickey and Friends parking structure and ride down the long escalators towards the trams that take guests to downtown Disney. It's that special feeling of adventure, nostalgia, and childhood joy that hits you every time you go into a Disney park. It's one of the main reasons people keep coming back to the park every year and sharing that experience with their kids. I could easily picture my 8-year-old self getting excited as I saw the castle peeking over the gates as I traveled to the dock on a paddle boat, or get excited seeing the monorail fly through the middle of the contemporary resort. Overall, transportation at the Magic Kingdom has to be the most inefficient ride of nostalgia Disney World has to offer. But I'm sure for a lot of you listening, that ride of nostalgia is worth the wait every single time. Now, once I got inside the park, that's where things got really disorienting for me. At Disneyland, everything is packed in, but it flows. There's a special rhythm to it. You can walk from Frontierland to New Orleans Square to Adventureland in seconds, and it makes sense. Magic Kingdom, though, it feels like someone copy and pasted Disneyland's layout and then shuffled the pieces around. As you can see from the two maps here, each park layout follows the same theme, but allow me to highlight the crucial differences between each layout. One of the advantages of the Magic Kingdom that trumps Disneyland is the way they incorporate multiple lanes of foot traffic through the park. One of Disneyland's critical flaws is the pathway connecting Adventureland to New Orleans Square to Bayou Country. This small section of park is responsible for an insane amount of foot traffic into the western side of the park that allows access to the popular attractions in that area. Disneyland veterans know that this small stretch of walkway can get so crowded that you can eventually see people walking shoulder to shoulder against each other just to get through. Luckily, with the addition of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, this helps solve the bottlenecking issue a bit and allows people to use an alternate route just to get back to the center of the park. Disneyland veterans likely have horror stories that are forever ingrained into their minds about this one walkway next to Pirates of the Caribbean. Overall, the Magic Kingdom layout is good because it allows multiple ways for people to move around to different areas of the park, solving a little bit of the bottlenecking issues that Disneyland is plagued with, except apparently for this one little part of Adventureland that, for some reason, is always crowded at the Magic Kingdom. Overall, the multiple walkways and routes you can take at the Magic Kingdom are nice to have, but do make navigating the park a little confusing at times when you're trying to figure out where you are on the map. Another misconception I had that really shocked me when I visited the Magic Kingdom for the first time was how small the park actually was. I had watched a lot of YouTube videos and content on the park, and the way the park looks on videos makes it seem that it's a lot bigger than it really is. I was surprised to find out that I could walk from one end of the park to the other in a matter of minutes. For some reason, I was expecting the park to be larger than it really was. Even though the Magic Kingdom is a few acres bigger than Disneyland, walking from one end of the park to the other takes about the same amount of time due to Disneyland having more traffic issues than the Magic Kingdom. Overall, I was expecting the park to be about twice the size, and I was kind of let down. I was also shocked to find out that the Magic Kingdom actually has less rides than Disneyland does, despite it being a bigger park by acreage. Disneyland has 35 rides, while the Magic Kingdom has 25 if you exclude the splash pad at Casey Jr. Splash and Soak Station. This is absolutely insane in my opinion, and I would have thought that there were a lot more attractions and things to do with the Magic Kingdom. This means that when compared to Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom has a lot of dead space that simply isn't being used for anything, or at least not being used very efficiently when compared to Disneyland. Alright, now it's time to take a closer look and talk about the details. In my opinion, Disneyland is bursting with deep, rich, and subtle details all over the park that do a really good job of transporting you into the world that Disney is trying to portray. You can really feel the history going all the way back to the 1950s when the park first opened, and you can tell that this park was something that Walt Disney himself was able to sink his amazing creative talents into. From the intricate detail etched into the facade of each building, into the texture of the walls of every ride, every inch is able to be looked upon as a beautiful addition to the masterpiece of the Disneyland park. Magic Kingdom, on the other hand, it feels more like a stage set, big, impressive from a distance, but kind of flat up close. The facades lack depth to them, and the Fantasyland there is a sort of plasticky storybook carnival vibe compared to Disneyland's charming European village. Tomorrowland is completely dated at Magic Kingdom and looks like a time capsule taken straight from the 1980s. There is no little details, no subtle splash of coloring on each piece of the park. Everything just kind of looks like one giant block of the same color. The best way I can describe it is that the Magic Kingdom looks like it was made by men in suits in a business office instead of an artist on site who is working on creating a beautiful masterpiece. It was as if a boardroom full of MBA graduates took a look at the Mona Lisa and tried to copy it themselves. The Magic Kingdom just falls flat. At Disneyland, every handrail, every piece of trim along a wall, every piece of the set as you wait in a line queue is intricately themed, and it does an incredible job of immersing you into the park. Magic Kingdom just can't compete on Disneyland's level. It was really disappointing as someone who loves going to the Disney parks and has gone for their entire life. Magic Kingdom, it all just feels bland and empty. Okay, now this next section dives into the vibes of both of the different parks. Disneyland is a locals park. You'll see people there that are neighbors, lifelong friends, and SoCal natives enjoying a fun way to spend their days off. Couples on a date night, locals dropping in just to catch the fireworks. It's a more laid back communal vibe, like Disneyland belongs to its neighborhood. Which makes sense. If you take a look at the area surrounding Disneyland, it's all apartments in older Anaheim neighborhoods surrounding the park. But the Magic Kingdom, it's a destination park. Everyone is there on a once in a lifetime family vacation, sporting matching t shirts, custom ears, and my first visit pins on their shirts. When I first walked into the gates, I was blown away at how many people were just stopping in the middle of Main Street, USA for pictures. But that paled in comparison to how many people were taking pictures at the center of the park. I was hit with yet another culture shock when I saw just how many people were simply at the park to take a bunch of photos. Some people even hired professional photographers just to take pictures of their family for their trip. Growing up, my parents would take me to Disneyland because they wanted to share a piece of their childhood with their children. Sure, we took plenty of photos, but it was really about enjoying our time together and getting to bond as a parent shared their childhood with their kids. Seeing the Magic Kingdom for the first time felt like I was walking into a giant fashion show with the castle as the stage and Main Street USA as the runway. It was almost like Disney put up the castle as a backdrop for people's Instagram photos. It was weird, but hey, maybe I'm just being extremely biased because of my deep-rooted Disneyland nostalgia. I'm sure if I grew up going to these parks, I would look at things a little differently, but after seeing the Magic Kingdom for the first time, I'm glad to have been raised in Disneyland. So, with all that being said, you might be asking, which park is better? Honestly, it depends entirely on one thing: what park you grew up in. I have a feeling that the Disney parks are not about which park is bigger or which one has more rides or which one looks better in an Instagram picture. The best park is the one that you hold most dear to your heart. Disneyland will always be a special place to me that the Magic Kingdom just can't compete with. Those experiences I had with my family at those parks were key factors of my childhood that I will remember for as long as I live. And I'm sure that you all feel the same way about your park you visited as a kid. Ultimately, the most important thing about these parks is not the rides or the food or the photos. It's about making memories and doing something special with the people that you love the most. The park comes second. I'll always be a Disneyland kid, but I'm glad I experienced the Magic Kingdom because it made me realize what's really important about a Disney vacation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing any of my future uploads. Be sure to leave a comment down below about which park you think is best and why. I would really enjoy getting to read different perspectives on it, so be sure to leave a comment. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.